Hey, what's going on, aspiring freight dispatchers? I got a very important video for you today. In today's video, I'm going to show you the quickest way to generate $1 million in your own home-based freight dispatching business. So I know when I say to generate $1 million in a freight dispatching business, it might sound unbelievable. It might sound like something you can't do. It might sound like other people can do it, but maybe not you. And if that's the way you feel, nothing's wrong with that, because that's the exact same mindset I had when I first started my freight dispatch business until I made it a reality. Sometimes you have to put the work in, you have to execute, you have to become disciplined and work on your business every single day, and you never know where that may get you. So I'm going to tell you a very simple way to make $1 million in your freight dispatching business during today's video. And you can start with nothing. You don't need any money to start, because I didn't have any money to start. So what I always believe when it comes to making money, I don't believe it should take a long drawn out story. If somebody really knows how to do it, they should be able to explain it very simple. So that's what I'm going to do with you today. I'm going to tell you how I generated $1 million in my home-based freight dispatching business. And if you follow this exact same formula, it's guaranteed you will arrive at $1 million in revenue. Also, after watching this video, click the link below to get my playbook that would teach you everything step by step about building $1 million freight dispatching business. So if you want that playbook, just click the link below, sign up for it, and make sure you implement that information into your business. So let's continue on with this video. Let's get it. So if you follow the steps I'm about to give you, generating $1 million in your freight dispatching business, I can't say it'd be the easiest thing ever, but if you follow these steps, I can say it all will be worth it, because it was for me. So step number one, this is what most freight dispatchers miss, but step number one, you need to know the business that you're selling into. Any good salesperson knows he or she needs to already know the business that they're selling into better than their customer. So being a freight dispatcher, you need to know how to run a successful trucking business better than your potential owner operators. Because how else are you going to sell someone into something if you don't have the knowledge that they want? What so many freight dispatchers do, they just come into freight dispatching like it's just some side hobby, lemonade stand style business, not realizing you're running a major operation, and not realizing if you don't come into this business with the right type of energy, the business that you want will not manifest. This is not some little side hustle, side hobby type business. You have to be dedicated. You know, we're in logistics, you got freight moving across the country, you're dealing with trucks that's on the highway and safety, and you're dealing with moving a lot of money, a lot of loads each week. So before you launch your freight dispatching business, you need to know everything about starting and scaling a successful trucking business, because this is the knowledge, the information that you're going to be implementing into your owner operator's business. So if you don't know that before you start, you really don't have anything to sell. So many freight dispatchers come into this game and they struggle. And what I just explained is the reason why they struggle. Because if you know how to make money for your truck driver, having that information in your mind, you're going to attract truck drivers to that information. You want to make sure you implant that information in the mind before you get started. You need to know how to grow a trucking business, because that's why owner operators are coming to you. And you want to know how to increase revenue in a trucking business, because that's how you're going to retain owner operators as a freight dispatcher. So the first step is know the business. That I love about freight dispatching, because it's hundreds and thousands of new owner operators coming into the trucking business every year. And how you can make so much money in freight dispatching is because most of the new owner operators, they're coming from being company drivers. So I'm not even going to hold you. So many new owner operators have a company driver mindset because they think they can be successful in trucking or in being an owner operator just because they have been a company driver. And that's not true. Owning a business is a totally different animal. So that's where you come in as a freight dispatcher. You don't have to go out and buy the equipment and get loans and spend your money on all the physical assets. The only thing you need to do is have the right ideas in mind of how to start and scale a successful trucking business, because this is what owner operators miss out on doing. So many owner operators come into the trucking industry, they buy their truck, their trailer, they get their motor carrier number, they get insurance, but they never think about, how do I come up with a plan to launch this business that's guaranteed to manifest success? So one thing that I did when I first became a freight dispatcher, I looked at everything that causes trucking businesses to fail. And then I looked at everything that causes trucking businesses to be successful. And I really studied that. And then what I started to do is I started to give that information out for free in my marketing on social media. And then anytime you give a certain amount of information out for free, there's going to be a certain percentage of people who want to work with you closer in your implementation program. And that would be your freight dispatching business, because a dispatching business is an implementation program. You're implementing a successful trucking business into the owner operator's business. So if you don't know how to start and scale a successful trucking business, you won't make it. But that's first step one. So make sure you get step one right, because everything I'm going to say in this video, one thing causes another thing to happen. And this is why it's so hard for so many people to generate wealth or to generate $1 million in income, because what they don't do, they don't follow the steps long enough for the $1 million to manifest. Not saying it's the hardest thing in life to do. I truly believe it can come easier than the majority of people think, but the majority of people aren't going to follow the right steps, which I'm about to give you some guaranteed steps in this video. But step one, you need to know the business you're selling. You need to know the business better than your potential owner operators, because if you don't know the business better and you can't show you know the business better for free, they're not going to have a reason to buy into your business or to sign up with your freight dispatching business, because giving that information away for free and they have that feeling, they are able to read your energy and they feel like you have value to add to their trucking business, then that's when they're going to pay you money for your freight dispatching service. Right, let's keep moving forward with step number two. Step number two is to build your UVP. That's your unique value proposition. So before you start your freight dispatch business, along with step number one and knowing how to run your customer's business, you also need to have something unique you offer to your customers that the market isn't offering. That's a critical step. That's why a lot of people fail too, because what happens is most people come into this industry, 97% of people come in and they look at the market, they look at exactly what's out there and they do the same thing. And what happens is they don't manifest any drivers, because 97% people marketing these businesses do not have drivers, and everybody else just comes in and does the same thing, and it's a repeating cycle. So what you need to use is you need to use Blue Ocean strategy. So what Blue Ocean strategy is, 97% of people that come into any industry are stuck in the shark infested red ocean. So this is where 97% of freight dispatchers are stuck. So if you just would read this book, you would know how to get over this market, right? But 97% of the people are going to stay stuck. they're in that shark infested red ocean is because they're marketing and presenting their company just like the rest of the market, right? But you can go over to that 3% of freight dispatchers that's in the blue ocean. Over in the blue ocean, customers come to you, or basically fish come to you. You attract the fish to you. You don't have to struggle and beg the fish to come to you because you have the value, or you have the unique value proposition. So that's any business. This is business 101. You don't want to start anything like you see everybody else starting it, right? But most people do that and they don't get anywhere. So before you start any business, including the freight dispatch business, you want to do market research. So you basically want to act like your customer. You want to act like an owner operator, and you want to research the market. You want to put yourself in the shoes of your potential owner operator and look at all the other dispatching companies and look at what they're doing. And it's basically like the same exact thing, but then you want to have higher value ideas to add to your trucking business. So if that was me, and what I did is I started to give away value about how to increase revenue in a trucking business. That's the number one thing to always go to. If you can teach people to make more money, you will be able to make money forever, because there'll never be a lack of people wanting to make more money. So you as a freight dispatcher, the quickest way to revenue is by getting on video and giving out the right ideas to make more money within a trucking business. So what you see most freight dispatchers do, they just say, I can find you the highest paying loads. Something for you to do that would be of higher value, instead of just saying, I help you find higher paying loads. You can say, I help you increase your revenue in your trucking business within the first 30 days and help you to scale after that. And then in your marketing, what you would need to do is deliver the right ideas. You need to get in alignment with what you're saying, with the higher ideas that you're saying in your marketing, what you can actually do for your customer. You need to get in alignment with that so you can basically tell the story or tell the steps, and then you seem believable. But basically what it is most freight dispatchers, they don't seem believable because they're saying one thing, but they're not explaining it over multiple different videos. So that's step 2, is to build your unique value proposition. If you never read Blue Ocean Strategy, make sure you also click the link. Go buy this. It can make you a lot of money. So moving right along to number 3, implement profit first. So in following the book Profit First, it breaks down how every business should have a main income account. That's where all your money is going to flow into that account. And then from there, you should have separate funds or accounts where your money automatically transfers to other accounts based on the percentages that you need to have transferred to, let's say, your marketing account. I would say you need one fund specifically for marketing, one for taxes, one for owner pay. So that's where all your pay would transfer to that account. And then what you want to take only 30% of your total revenue out of the business for your pay as the owner. Focus your attention on increasing your revenue in your freight dispatching business. And then as you increase your revenue, you have more money going into like your marketing account, your owner pay account, and so on and so forth. So you just concentrate the majority of your thought, increasing revenue, and then everything else is going to get taken care of automatically. And this starts your cash flow loop. So basically you got money coming into the business, so you're building an engine to generate you cash flow. And where I'm going to go later on in this video, what this is about is building an engine to generate cash flow so you can reinvest cash flow. And this is going to make your life a lot easier when you have enough money coming in and extra money to reinvest into yourself. And by setting up your profit first accounts, that money is just going to come in and be divided within the other funds as they need to be. So number 4, plug into a proven plug and play system. So where many freight dispatchers go wrong is they think just by learning the industry, they will be able to open up a freight dispatch business and attract owner operators. But the thing is, consumer buying habits have changed. So now when owner operators sign up with a freight dispatching business, they don't want someone just beginning, because if you market your business and you really don't have the momentum and everything in place to increase owner operators revenue, they're going to be able to tell that by your marketing. So you want to plug into a plug and play system, because when you first start your business, you already want all the systems going for you, so you can plug into that plug and play system, and then owner operators can plug into your business. So from day one, your business is a plug and play system. Let me break this down, because you shouldn't have to create all these different departments on your own, because it would take months, years, or never. So you want to plug into a marketing department that's already working for you. So in my Freight Dispatcher Bootcamp, that's what I do. You plug into my business. So you need to plug into a system where you already have the right ideas when it comes to marketing. Knowing how to market to your owner operators, knowing their highest pain points and the solutions for the highest pain points, such as inconsistent revenue, lack of load consistency, extremely high deadhead miles. So you need to know what that means and the solutions before you start your dispatching company, because that's what you're implementing into your owner operators trucking business. So you need to market your business from this standpoint. In your sales department, you need to know how to get on a conversation or sales call with owner operator. And during that sales call, you have to sell them into your business. So during that call, you need to be able to educate owner operators. You need to help them to see how your implementation program or dispatching service can bring value to their trucking business. That's what you do on the sales call, and you need to have your sales department and scripts already built out. In your customer support department, you're going to be giving them your freight dispatch agreement. They're going to be sending that back to you with their certificate of authority, certificate of insurance, and W-9. And you need to set up ways of communicating with your owner operators, such as using Slack. That's what we use inside of Freight Dispatcher Bootcamp. It's a free business communication app, and that's what I recommend communicating with your owner operators. And then last but not least, you have your operations department. This is a major one. You need to already know how to increase owner operators' revenue, bring them more profitable loads, and decrease their deadhead miles on day one of your business, because this is what owner operators are looking for. And if you can't market from that standpoint from day one of your business, owner operators are going to know you're just pitching services and you really don't have the motion inside of your freight dispatching business. So make sure you find a proven plug and play program, such as my Freight Dispatcher Bootcamp, to plug into, so everything's already built out on day one, so you don't have to build it. You're just plugging into something that already has momentum. So step number 5 is implement what I have coined as PDF, or the Predictable Driver Formula. This is a must-have in your freight dispatch business. And when I first realized this, that's when I realized this is mainly what freight dispatching is about, owning a freight dispatching business. So most people just come in and they learn all the dispatcher stuff, knowing how to work the load boards or negotiate with brokers, but they never learn the predictable driver formula. And this is the engine or the backbone of your freight dispatching business. So if you don't have this part, you don't have a freight dispatching business. So the predictable driver formula, following this formula, our first objective is to get leads, potential drivers interested in your freight dispatching business. So that's the top of your pipeline. So then after leads, after they become a lead or someone interested in your business, next is sales calls. You need to get them on a sales call or have a conversation with them to convert them into your business. Next is signups. So basically once they have said they want to work with you, you have a driver that has signed up. And then after signups is weekly revenue. So we all want to make an increasing amount of cash flow weekly, monthly, quarterly, and yearly, right? But how you do that, it all starts with leads. Like I teach in my Freight Dispatcher Bootcamp, your business has to be aligned. You have to follow natural law, the law of attraction. So to manifest a customer in your operations department, to dispatch them, basically it starts with leads. You need to focus on getting an increasing amount of owner operators interested in your company, because as you get more leads or owner operators interested, that's going to get you on more sales calls. And as you get on more sales calls, you're going to get more drivers signed up. As you get more drivers signed up, you're going to make a more weekly revenue. So following the law of attraction, if you want to manifest a customer, or if you want to manifest an increased amount of revenue, you need to start with leads. And then after you work on this formula and you strengthen your lead pipeline, what's going to happen is your lead flow is going to be consistent. And this is why I call it the predictable driver formula. So then you know for every 100 leads you get, you sign up those 5 drivers, and you know those 5 drivers turn into $5,000 extra dollars in revenue. So now you can predict your revenue by your leads. So you look at how many leads you have, and then it pretty much get predictable from the amount of leads you have to the amount of sales calls you're getting on, to the amount of drivers signing up, to your weekly revenue. And this is how you can control your revenue, or make sure your revenue is always increasing, by increasing the amount of leads coming into your marketing department. Step 6 is to hit the critical threshold. So this is important for you as a freight dispatcher and for the owner operators that you dispatch for, because you need to hit the critical threshold. This is when your business and personal expenses combined, when you raise your business revenue to equal those business and personal expenses combined. So let's say, to keep things simple, if your personal expenses are, let's say, $3,000 per month, and your business expenses are $1,000. So you need $4,000 to hit the critical threshold. So once your business expenses hits $4,000, so your business is now able to cover every expense you need in your lifestyle, or your business is able to cover your personal expenses plus your business expenses, that's when you hit the critical threshold. And sometimes it can be a fight to get up to that critical threshold. So you got the mark, and that $4,000 you need to make in your business, these are your expenses. And so your business revenue, as is increasing, and as you hit the critical threshold, it gets easier from there on out with you and your owner operator. So you as a freight dispatcher, your goal when you start a business is to hit the critical threshold. That's going to give you a more enjoyable lifestyle. When you hit that critical threshold, you're going to be able to feel it within yourself. It's going to feel like a relief off of you. So that's why this step is about hitting the critical threshold for yourself. And then once you start your business, you have to remember that you need to get your customers' business to hit that critical threshold. And what this is going to allow you to keep increasing your business revenue above and beyond that critical threshold, and you're going to have money to reinvest into your business, into yourself. And now momentum's about to come. You're about to experience a lifestyle change very quickly. All right, 7 is when you allocate 20% towards wealth vehicles. So now, since you have more money than you need coming into your business and your personal life, you need to allocate at least 20% towards wealth vehicles. This is when things really start to pick up for me. I started to reinvest money that I was making from freight dispatching into crypto, real estate, Airbnb, private equity, and more. So most people think to make $1 million in a particular industry that it comes from that core business. Most of the time, more often than not, the $1 million does not come from the core business. The core business is just the engine that generates cash flow to be able to reinvest. And this is when your life will start taking off exponentially because you got more money than you need coming in, and so many people don't hit this point. So getting to the $1 million isn't that hard after you hit that critical threshold and you're able to reinvest. And this is basically what I teach in my Freight Dispatcher Bootcamp, because what you need to do as soon as you come into any business, you need to have a lead generation focused mindset, because continuing to increase those leads is going to lead to an increased amount of revenue. So by increasing leads, it's going to get you that increased revenue to reinvest into investments that's going to skyrocket your business. So it's definitely very important to hit that critical threshold and reinvest, and then you can really get things moving. And one thing I did, once I reinvested into crypto and real estate, the money I made from those investments, so now I'm making basically money out of thin air because my investments are making money for me. So this is basically like free money. And I started to take that money and I started to reinvest that money into marketing of my freight dispatching business, running ads, lookalike ads, retargeting ads, and that again boosted the leads coming into the business, which gave me more revenue. So you want to get that continuous money cash flow loop going, and once that loop's going, you just want to strengthen it up more. Just keep adding to it to generate your first million more efficiently. Step number 8 is about momentum to millions. So to get those millions, you got to get the momentum going, cash flow momentum. So this entire video basically is about teaching you how to start small and get that momentum going. So step 8, momentum to millions, is about working on your weekly marketing, because your weekly marketing is going to bring leads in, and your consistent sales calls are going to sign up those leads and lead you to consistent weekly revenue, and that's going to lead you to consistent monthly revenue. And then you're going to have that extra 20% to reinvest into your business, creating more momentum. So one thing most people don't understand about making $1 million, it's not that hard. You just have to create a system to get you there. And if you took value from this video and you understand the system now, please give it a like. Click the link below to download my free playbook that would teach you everything that I just taught in this video in a couple of steps in PDF form, so you can always go there directly and look at it, so you can start working your way to your first million. I thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions, please comment down below.